And welcome back to the program. Well, who's ready for a little Shakespeare in the Village? Not in the park, but in the village, right? The old pros are here. We want to welcome David Deering and Carol Glenn to our program. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Now, you guys are doing a Shakespeare's Women is the topic of the upcoming thing. What gave you guys the idea? Why is it important to talk about these things?
Oh. When is it not important to talk about Shakespeare? Well, we're very fortunate. We do Shakespeare on a regular basis, try to do at least once a year. Mm-hmm. Dr. Julia Lupton was not available when we did a presentation of many of Shakespeare's women earlier, but she is now, and I've seen her do a presentation, and it's just such a delight. And we have a lovely, lovely lady who will bring to life these characters that Julia will be telling us about.
So it's going to be a little bit of a lecture and a little bit of performance?
Oh, a lot of performance.
Okay. 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 And so is it scripted, or is it going to be a little bit of Q&A, or is it going to be a little bit of both?
It will be all of the above.
Okay. Okay. So it's really kind of coming, and Shakespeare certainly took a lot of time to develop female characters. They're not just throwaway girlfriend, boyfriend, wives, or children, right?
No, we know Shakespeare's men, obviously.
Sure.
Okay. Mainly because of the title of the plays. Okay? We know Lear, we know Macbeth,
right.
We know Hamlet. Okay, but buried inside these titles, okay, are wonderful, wonderful women's characters, okay, with great speeches, great soliloquies, great dialogue. Think of Lady Macbeth, how she is such an important character in that play, and Desdemona and Amelia and Othello.
Yeah. Right. Portia, Cordelia. I mean, there's so many.
Well, these were all women.
And Julia got a top billing in one of his plays, at least. She actually made the name of the title.
She made the name. That's where I was headed. Okay, Romeo and Juliet.
And then there is Cleopatra.
Yes.
And that's one I'm really looking forward to, because I have never seen a production of Cleopatra by Shakespeare.
Oh,
okay.
So I'm very eager to, and it's going to be one of the pieces that will be done on Wednesday.
So why isn't it important to kind of take this dive into the women that Shakespeare wrote about and created?
It's easy to follow the men, okay, and people are more familiar with that. But we often forget about the women in Shakespeare's plays. And we have done Shakespeare in the Village since 2008. We've performed plays on the patio. We've done plays in the Pack. And we've always tried to include plays that have good parts for women, because we have lots of good women in our theater group. So we want to include the women. And, excuse me, Carol did a wonderful part. She was Amelia?
Puck.
Oh,
Puck. I know, but what you're talking about is the
Othello.
From Othello. Right. I actually got to do a short bit as Desdemona.
Okay.
And it's funny because the part I was going to do it as a monologue, was Amelia's monologue, and I found out this other delightful actress had her eyes on it. So I said, David, she's got to do this. And then they said, well, let's put it together and do the scene. So that's how that happened.
Yes.
When you explore a role, when you perform and you read a part written by Shakespeare for a strong, important woman, what do you look through in terms of how I take my notes from this, how I'm going to present this person, backstories and things like that?
Oh, it doesn't differ from any other part that one approaches as an actor. Number one, you look for the truth of it. Even if the person is lying, they know they're lying, but they're selling it. And so that's the important thing, is the truth of the character.
Yeah. Do they mean this, or are they just trying to be deceitful? Is it in their heart this way, or they have this deception, which are two different kind of presentations, right? Okay.
When you look at Lady Macbeth's speech, when she's trying to cajole her husband into murdering the king, okay, that's really pretty powerful, okay? She has a great speech where she says, "Come, unsex me here, you murdering ministers," right? And everybody goes, whoa, what's she doing here? Okay, but she knew what she was doing.
Right, right. And then you have like the opposite of that is like an innocence in the role of Juliet, where
yes.
Shakespeare explores this young love and the wide-eyedness of it all, and the the angst of it all.
I think I've probably done readings of Juliet, but yes, it's just you just convince yourself this is where you are. You sell yourself. You can't sell anybody else. And be real unless you believe it yourself.
Absolutely. Well, the Shakespeare's Women, I want to make sure people know about that. An Evening with Julia Lupton and Ava Burton. It's going to be coming up on October 23rd, Club House 7. Doors open at 6:30. Show starts at 7 p.m. Members are free. If you're an old pro, you get in free. And guests are $5.
Best bargain around.
Best bargain around. That's a heck of a deal.
Shakespeare for $5. Come on.
And the wine and cheese.
Yes.
Oh boy.
What do you hope the takeaways will be from that night in terms of just having a deeper understanding of these characters, or like the importance of women's roles in these plays?
I would say both. Okay, Carol, go ahead.
Yes, well, definitely the image of women through all of that time, the Renaissance, was that they were downtrodden and behind closed doors. But even when they were behind closed doors, they were still very capable of controlling certain things. And we see that in Shakespeare all the time. His women are interesting women.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, I mean, that was at a time, Shakespeare's time, where women couldn't even be on stage and be in these roles.
No.
And so it's interesting that Shakespeare would take the time to make such interesting female characters and have them be so intricate to the roles in such prominent roles, right?
And all those fine young boys whose voices hadn't changed who
Right.
were playing the characters.
I can't play that part anymore.
Yeah, right. When you hit 15, your female stage impersonation days are over. And when you book an event like this, what do you tell your members in terms of, hey, come on out here and enjoy this because? How do you sell this to the folks?
I would say because we've done the men, okay? We did King Lear, we did Macbeth, okay? And now we want to take our club a little bit further and a little bit deeper into the great writings of Shakespeare. And the women, they're there for sure.
Okay. All right, we're going to put you guys on the spot. Favorite female character from any of Shakespeare's plays, comedies, tragedies, whatever it might be. You have a top one?
Puck.
Okay.
I get David, how did we do that? I just knew I wanted to do Puck and you let me do it.
Yeah, that was when our very first Shakespeare in 2008. We did Puck as a character who starts the play and ends the play. If we shadows have offended,
think but this and all is mended.
And she wanted that role so badly. Okay.
It's still burned into your mind.
And I was directing that, and I said, Carol, if you want that part, it's yours. Okay.
You have yourself a favorite?
I do have a favorite, and it's one that maybe people don't recognize, but I love the part of Ophelia. She has the most wonderful speech where she either commits suicide or is drawn to the water, where she's lying on her back, floating down the stream, giving this absolutely beautiful, beautiful speech, okay? Among others. It's hard to pick a favorite.
But for a guy, I know you've done Malvolio, and you had so much fun doing that one.
Well, before we go, I do want to mention that you guys lost a dear member of the Old Pros recently, and I want to just talk about that for a second and show a clip.
Our darling Tony Barr. I had the honor of one of my first shows when I came here was working with Tony, and we did Sonny and Cher. It was an incredible experience. We were in costume, we came out on stage, and before we opened our mouths, we got applause, like rock stars. And I said, this is what it's like. You just show up and they love you. It was a wonderful experience. And Tony is just the sweetest guy, and he's done such wonderful pieces. He did the classic Music Man, Trouble in River City, which was phenomenal. What we have from his last appearance with us was some of his Jolson, which was his signature.
Let's take a quick look at that clip.
while they were lonely. I'm a lonely too. Sonny boy.
That was a great video. Great to see that. And I want to say one more time, the Old Pros presents Shakespeare's Women. It's an evening with Julia Lupton, Ava Burton. It's going to be on October 23rd. Clubhouse 7. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Show starts at 7. Members are free. Guests are $5. Thank you so much, David and Carol, for joining us today.
Thank you.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.